All right. We're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Meeting is called to order at 9 o'clock. Trying to make sure that we keep up with Joe's pace of doing things on time. So welcome to the Community Partnership Meeting today. We're going to begin, as we always do, with introductions. So if you would like to state your name, your organization and role, and of course something that you are grateful for. And I will start with the people on Zoom. So the first person I have is Erin Creeley.
Hi folks, I'm Erin Creeley. I'm the District Director for the St. Albans Office of Local Health, part of Vermont Department of Health. We serve Franklin and Grand Isle counties. I use she, her pronouns, and I am, what am I grateful for today? I'm grateful for the team I get to work with. I was going to cover the window today, and someone graciously offered to cover the window for me, so I get to be in my office and join you. So, thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Erin. Next person is Megan.
Good morning, everyone. Megan Bridget is United Way of Northwest Vermont. I am grateful. Yesterday, I got to spend the day with 400 nonprofit professionals at the DoubleTree Hotel for the Common Good Vermont Nonprofit Summit. And what a day. Amazing. All those folks coming together and camaraderie and common purpose. So if you weren't able to join us, put it on your calendar for next year. It's a great day. And I'm grateful for my colleagues who did all the hard work to put it on.
Awesome. Thank you, Megan. Deb.
Hi, I'm Deb Coyle. I'm a supervisor for AgeWell for our care and service coordination team, and we serve, my office serves Franklin and Grand Isle County, and I'm thankful that I'm here and have 8 weeks out of getting 2 knees replaced and feel like I'm doing really well. And so I'm thankful that I'm up and about with 2 new knees.
Awesome. Thank you, Deb. Jessica.
Good morning. My name is Jessica, she, her. I am the Balance and Restorative Justice Program Manager at the Franklin Grand Isle Restorative Justice Center. And I think today I'm feeling really thankful for anything that has heat, like my heated seat, and all of those things. I'm not quite ready for this cold weather just yet, so thankful for things that are keeping me warm.
Amen to that, sister. Jessica Fike.
Hi everyone, Jess Fike, Champlain Toxicology Lab. I'm grateful for staffing actually in Burlington. It's beautiful to have staff.
Thank you, Jess. Sam?
Hey guys, Sam Snyder with the Restorative Justice Center. I am grateful this morning. My daughter, of course, and also for Kathy.
Thanks, Sam. Nicole.
Good morning. Sorry I couldn't get my audio on. Good morning, everyone. My name is Nicole Clements. I am also with the United Way of Northwest Vermont in the Working Bridges program, and I'm grateful for family today.
Awesome. Thank you, Nicole. Brendan.
Morning, everyone. Brendan McCormick. I work for Sonnet Substance Use Disorder Treatment Facility. Grateful for health and wellness today. Good to see everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, Brendan. Matthew.
Greetings. I'm grateful for, the community, important community connection. I get out there for everybody to learn and stuff. I use my before. I use him pronouns. Like I said, I'm grateful for, trying to set that important information out there when needed. I'm actually official Vermont State correspondent. I have so many titles, I can't name them all. Just, you know, I'm here to make sure that everybody gets to know and to know. But thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. Liz?
Hi folks, Liz Jarvis from CCV's, I'm the CCV's Resource Access Manager, and this morning I am grateful that my dog slept in, which meant I did not have to get up early.
Thank you, Liz. Sarah?
Good morning. I'm Sarah, RN Care Manager at Savita Health. And this morning I am thankful for coffee and community partnerships. Not necessarily in that order.
Thank you, Sarah. Tracy?
Hi, I'm Tracy Thomason, also with Savita, Director of Ops for Vermont, New Hampshire. I am grateful for my cute little town of Barrie. The mayor, along with United Way and some churches and the food bank, has been working really hard to supplement all of the folks in our little town during this food stamp pause. I'm also grateful that I'm on my way to an open house in Manchester, New Hampshire, our new location. And next week, we will have our open house in St. Albans, and I'm excited to see all of you there.
Thank you, Tracy. And I think we got everybody on Zoom. I'm going to pause for a minute if there's anybody I missed. Okay, now we're going to come to the room, and I'll start to my left.
All right, good morning everyone. Danielle Roberts, I'm the Director of Community Relations at NCSS, and today I'm grateful for an admin appreciation event that we're doing here, and it's going to be a soup cook-off, so yeah, it's going to be a good time.
Wow.
Sounds delish.
Yeah, what time?
Yeah. Where and when? Peter Andrews formerly was representing Adult and Teen Challenge in this room, but now represent Granite Recovery Center as the outreach coordinator for the state of Vermont. I am very grateful for everybody in this room as well as those on Zoom. I've been very welcoming in my new career as well as in my recovery journey, so thank you.
Congrats.
I'm Brittany Sweet. I am a local business owner, and I'm also in the early stages of developing Vermont's first recovery residence for youth, and I am really grateful to be here. Melinda invited me so I could come and start to meet some community partners, so thank you so much for inviting me.
You, first timer.
Oh, first timer.
I get one job.
Hello everyone, my name is Matthew Murphy-Lyon. I'm the Enhanced Mobile Crisis Clinician at NCSS. I'm very thankful for being here. I've been here in the past, but it's good to kick back up and start up with you guys again. Today I'm thankful for my daughter. One, she kept her blanket on last night, and so she actually slept all the way through the night instead of yelling, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy," to come put it back on, which was great. And then this morning she was walking out the door just screaming, "I love you, Dada!" So it was always a good time.
Awesome.
I'm Stephanie Comstock. I'm the Director of Basic Needs Programs with Spectrum Youth and Family Services. And today I am incredibly grateful for my incredible staff who have had some incredibly challenging youth come through our doors, especially the overnight staff, because I worked an overnight this weekend and I'm still recovering from that. So it was rough.
I'm Kathleen Shadow. I am the rector at Holy Trinity Episcopal Church in Swanton. And today I'm grateful for all of the rain that we've had, not because it's been raining and dreary, but because I know that we've needed that rain. And I am of the firm opinion that if it is below about 45 degrees, precipitation should just be snow. Because I don't mind the cold and it makes me too cold. So, yeah, it just makes it bone. It's just colder when it's raining. I don't understand it. So.
I'm Brad Furland. I'm co-chair of the Substance Use Addiction Summit with Melinda. And I'm grateful for a Cold Hollow vet, large animal practice. We had a sheep down the end of last week, and they just come and they're so great, and our sheep is doing great. So.
Karen Heinlein Grenier, Director of the Turning Point. I'm grateful for staff, some new staff, and a new volunteer. Just started today.
I'm Amy Tran from Swanton, Vermont. I'm thankful to be here today. It is my first day volunteering at the Turning Point, and I'm excited. I'm excited for new possibilities. So,
yay!
Yes.
And this is her first time.
Good morning. I'm Katie DeForge. I'm the Assistant Director at the Turning Point of Franklin County. Today, I am grateful that we are getting ready to go to warm weather soon.
Florida. I'm carrying your bags.
So Katie is a real person, not just this phony thing on the screen?
Correct,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Magnificent Katie in the flesh.
I'm Matthew D'Alessio. I work at Turning Point also, and I'm grateful to be able to grow on a daily basis.
Yay, and this is also Matt's
Randy Allen, Turning Point in Franklin County, and I am grateful that my Dodgers finally won the World Series. I don't think I could take any more of it.
I'm Ken Hammond. I'm with Agency of Human Services, the Field Service Director. I'm grateful for this turnout. This is, I think, my third or fourth meeting, and this is like by far the biggest in person that we've had. It's awesome.
Michelle Bissett from the Abenaki Nation of Siskoy, and I'm thankful for my grandchildren, family, and I just had gotten some more news probably a couple weeks ago that I'm going to be a grandma again, somewhere May 30th next year. So, excited.
All right, John Gordon, Sheldon Methodist Church Food Shelf. And I guess I've got two things. First, I'm thankful for all of you that are in this room, and I see there's a lot of you who are involved in substance abuse recovery and recovery efforts, and I'm thankful for you. I had a son who had some struggles, and he's come out of it on the other side really well, but for all of you that do that work, I'm very thankful. And I'm also thankful for the state that we live in. The Vermont Emergency Board last week voted to put 50% benefit on everybody's SNAP card this week. It should happen by Friday. And they will meet again on the 15th of November to see if the other half needs to be applied if the feds have not stepped up. What you may not know is in addition to that, they sent $250,000 to the Vermont Food Bank, which the Vermont Food Bank immediately turned around and sent out to food shelves. So Friday, I got $6,700 to use immediately to buy food to keep my food shelf stocked. That's awesome. So that was really thankful for our legislators and our state, living in the state that we live in. Yeah, it was really cool.
Awesome. Thanks, John. I'm Jessica Frost from NMC, and I'm grateful for my family. And last week I got to take my junior at UVM out to dinner, and even though she's only in Burlington, she may as well be very far away because she's always very busy. So we were able to carve out an evening and hang out together, which was fun.
And I saw that we had a new arrival. Is Heather still on Zoom? Yes, you are. There you are. Heather, would you like to introduce yourself or just saying our name, role, organization, and something you're grateful for?
Sure. I'm Heather Newcomb with Vermont Works for Women. It's been a while since I've attended one of these meetings, so glad to be back. And I am grateful that, similar to John, that we live in the state of Vermont, and no matter what's happening in Washington, Vermont takes care of its own.
Love it. Thank you, Heather. It's good to see you again.
Yes, good to see you.
And then I also love putting Hunter on the spot for a moment just to say thank you to Northwest Access TV for faithfully being here every month. And then also, Hunter, if you want to maybe say something you're grateful for.
I'm grateful for the cooler weather. I like the autumn and early winter. They kind of the extreme seasons. This is a nice middle ground for me. I'm comfortable. I had a leg injury earlier in the year, and that's kind of healing up so I can get outside again. Like kind of right in time for the weather. I was looking forward to it. So I'm grateful for that.
Thank you for bringing a silver lining to the weather. And then Amy, not to put you on the spot, but we're doing intros.
Hi,
Hi, everybody. I am Amy Brewer with the Franklin Grand Isle Tobacco Prevention Coalition at Northwestern Medical Center. And man, I had just had like a teary morning on the way up, just really inspired by people coming together to solve problems and care for their neighbors. And it was just a multitude of stories that all seemed to point to how people want to work together to help others. And so I was happy about that. I'm grateful for it.
Awesome. Thank you, Amy. And I also saw that Willie joined online. Willie, if you're able and comfortable, if you could introduce yourself and something that you're grateful, your name, role, organization, something you're grateful for.
Hi, my name is Wiley McGirder. I am with Savita Health. I'm actually one of the licensed mental health counselors here. What am I grateful for? The snow has not started just yet. It will come Sunday.
Awesome. And is this your first community partnership meeting?
I'm trying to think. I think I attended last month.
Oh, you did come to it.
well.
Okay. I apologize. I wasn't here last month. Well, I'm still going to give you a bell. It's wonderful to see you, Millie. We're so grateful for your role at Savita. And I think I got.
Thank you.
I think I got everybody. Is there anybody I missed? Okay, and I'll close this out. So Melinda White, Recovery Coach Supervisor in the Emergency Department, Summit Co-Founder, Police Advisory Board, all those roles. And I am extremely grateful for the recovery community. As John mentioned, there's a lot of people who are working in the field that are in this room right now. And there's nothing more exciting than seeing those full circle moments of people who have been we've been at our worst, and then all of a sudden we're able to work in the field and help other people who are going through what they think is the worst days of their lives, only to learn that it's actually the best thing that ever could have happened to them. So I'm surrounded by a lot of miracles in the room and on the screen, and I'm really grateful for that. And then the last piece, I'll do a story, Matt, but I got to do this to you. So I did the sequential intercept model monthly meeting a couple months ago, and it was the first time that we had somebody with lived experience share about their journey in the various community partners they work with, and that was Matt. So for anybody who was on that meeting and texting me saying, oh my gosh, this guy has me in tears, that's him. So with that, we'll move on to the next piece.
We got to have one comment about the weather.
Okay.
For all of you that live in Vermont, okay, it's been warm all summer, and here it is, it's 40 degrees, and we're all like, oh man, I need 2 sweatshirts and a coat. And you got to realize that come January, when it's been 30 below for 4 days in a row, it gets up to 20 degrees, we'll all be running outside going, wow, it's t-shirt weather.
This is true. Thank you, John, for the silver lining. Okay, so the next item on our agenda is to approve the meeting minutes from last month, and those were sent out in your packet last week. So if anybody has reviewed those and has a motion to accept as written or any edits, now's the time.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Awesome, thank you. So John Gorton approved. A second?
Second.
Amy, second. Thank you. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Okay. I'm going to deviate from the agenda for just a moment because I don't want to run out of time to not bring this up. So the annual Ingroff Ostermeyer Award, we're at that time of year where we're taking the nominations. The form has been included in the update. So if there's anybody you want to nominate, we have 10 more days for nominations. We do have one. And that's okay too. Sometimes it's easier for the executive lead team to only have 1 or 2 because then we don't want to vote anybody out. But just want to throw that in. So if you do have somebody that you've been wanting to nominate, if you can email me that form by November 15th, that would be fantastic. And if for some reason you can't seem to locate it or you would like me to email you the form, just let me know. So the next piece of our agenda is having presentation on Granite Recovery Centers. Tony had something come up, so he can't make it. But Pete, who introduced himself earlier and mentioned that he recently moved to Granite Recovery, has graciously stepped up to the plate to do the presentation. And we do a lot of partnering with Granite. I know there's people in this room who have gone through that program. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to you, Pete.
Perfect.
You're welcome to go to that podium or whatever works for you.
Love that.
And while he's going up there, anybody in the room, sorry guys on Zoom, but in the room there are Mother Hubbard's cookies and there are Red House Sweets, delicious goodness, and some coffee. So please feel free to go ahead and grab something while he's queuing up his PowerPoint.
Please do, because I cannot eat all of that.
Well, I mean, I'll take it home, dude. I got you. I got you. Right?
Yeah, I didn't hesitate at all.
We can eat.
Let everybody take the stuff, and if I get there and everything is gone, then I'm saved from having to eat it.
Yeah, that should be my strategy.
That's my strategy.
Mine
Or
is-
the things.
Mine is, there's a chocolate croissant.
I know, Erin. I just saw your chat. It's not too late to take a drive over.
If you hustle over, there might be some left.
Oh, and also in the chat, so Tracy Thomason, oh, well, I'm the guest speaker for the Savita Open House, but also the reiteration that Wednesday, November 12th from 11 to 2 is the open house at Savita on 17 Catherine Street.
I like your sweater.
Oh, thank you.
Can everyone see can you guys see the PowerPoint on Zoom? Yep, I get some thumbs up. Thank you, Tracy.
Yeah, I know. I had their chocolate chip. They never upset.
You're fine. All right, so without further ado, I just want to thank you guys for having me back on the other side of things.
Oh, I'm going to record this meeting. Hold on.
I'm gonna record it. Oh.
Sorry.
Recording in progress.
Then there's evidence. So I just want to say thank you. You know, I sat in this room, I don't know, probably for the last year from Adult and Teen Challenge standpoint, and it had been blessed and graciously accepted into Granite Recovery Centers as an outreach coordinator for the state of Vermont. The goal of Granite and having me be a part of the state of Vermont is the fact that there's a need, and we're here to serve that need. We may not have the exact answer, but because of people like everyone sitting in this room and online, I'm connected pretty well with a phenomenal community base. And if Granite's not the answer for the individual, there's still many other ways, whether it's Teen Challenge, whether it's working with Brendan down at Sauna at Stowe. I'm nothing but a person in the middle to connect the dots. So that's kind of just like why I'm here. When I was asked to present, and this brings tears, I'm a product of this meeting. Those pictures are 3 years old. So I'm qualified because I actually graduated from Granite, as well as Adult and Teen Challenge. But we gotta get past that. So the mission of Granite Recovery Centers is to expand the network of highly skilled teams to put patient first. And I really want to stress the fact that we put the patient first. Meaning, if our full continuum does not fit what they are looking for, it doesn't mean I don't pick up the phone. That is something that I'm very proud of. If it means I call Brendan and they want to stay in state, or a Valley Vista with Michael and Matt, or whatever that recovery journey looks like, I want to be a part of it. Just because Granite is a separate entity doesn't mean we don't want people to recover. I think that's something we have to break down that wall because the state of Vermont is in need of more answers, and this is part of it. So, patient first by providing a comprehensive, compassionate, and an evidence-based treatment that promotes improved emotional and physical health. Pretty, standard mission. The vision is to create a world where every person, it doesn't just say some, doesn't just say the ones we like, doesn't say the easy cases. It says every person seeking recovery from substance use disorder, so they have the access to the expert, non-judgmental care that restores health, strengthens their families, and enhances our community. So the mountain was so nice, I went back twice. It's not a one-stop shop. It doesn't work. Sometimes you have to get hit in the head 50 times before you realize that sobriety can be a good thing. And sometimes it means you maybe go to Sauna at Stowe for 30 days and realize that you need more continuum of care. Or maybe it's you tried Valley Vista and you're a high utilizer of that and it didn't work. So I want to be the person that gives you that third option, that second option for a longer continuum of care. The core values, and I can email this out, it really just takes ownership of the entire process. So accountability-wise, we take ownership of all of our actions and the impact of said decisions and actions on the people we serve. So service, we're dedicated to meeting the needs of our patients, families, and partners. People, we value the strength and potential of every individual. You know, we don't work a 9 to 5 in this industry. I'm 7 days a week. Majority of the work is probably 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. when somebody's ready to get help. So there's no off days, which I love. Through that, we act with integrity, with honesty, transparency, and ethical responsibility. We respect every person with dignity, empathy, and understanding. And we truly believe in evidence-based practice. We deliver care grounded in proven and research-driven approaches. So you'll see later in slides talking about there's so many different opportunities within the Granite Recovery Centers that, you know, I graduated from a faith-based situation. Sometimes that works for people. Other people need a 12-step. We have a full continuum that allows each avenue to be explored, whether it's art therapy, dance, you know, you name it, and it's probably happening up at the mountain. So there's not just one copy and paste method. Some people think that could work, but let's be honest, everybody in this room is different. You're going to react differently in different situations, and we have to approach care in that same manner. So we have multiple centers in New Hampshire, Maine, I believe 6 total, that serve a large base of individuals. I came today to talk about really 2 because I think it has the most value to the people in this room and online. The first one's going to be Green Mountain Treatment Center. This is for substance use disorder as the primary concern. So that's where I attended. Absolutely gorgeous setting. And it's located in Effingham, New Hampshire. That's actually the view right outside of the dining hall. And when you're in early recovery, you're pretty down on yourself. And when you wake up and you see that, it's tough to have a bad day. You really start to appreciate life again. You appreciate what God has created, and there's deer in the front yard and turkeys running around. And you're also out of your element. I needed to leave for a short time because I was the problem, believe it or not. It's hard to admit, but it allows you just a serene setting to focus on yourself with little to no distractions. Capacity up there, this is kind of an overwhelming number because in Vermont we don't really have that. That is just one center, 140 beds with 30 detox beds available. I stress that detox number because every place I go in Vermont right now, everybody's struggling to find a detox bed. We have beds available. There are, and I'll answer some questions later on about, I know the overwhelming question will be asked about Medicaid and stuff like that. I know it's coming, I prepped for it all morning. And then from detox, when we talk the entire continuum of care, we have 55 residential beds, and then the remainder of beds is split into PHP and IOP. So I like to focus really on this. The full continuum of care allows 90 days for someone to be within our care and then set up their aftercare plan. One thing I'm really proud of, and the team is super excited about, our average length of stay right now for residents is 56 days. That's unheard of. We are very blessed to have a clinical team where upon admission into the program, you get a counselor, you get a case manager, and really focused on that full continuum of care. We do believe that longer stays have a better outcome. So when we talk full continuum of care, we talk about the different levels. We go all the way from detox, residential, PHP, IOP with housing. All of those have housing associated with them. The first 30 days you are on campus in the residential setting. Once you graduate into the PHP situation, you actually live off campus in what's called FGI. It's a Forest Glen Inn. It's an old ski inn in North Conway where you have your own, basically, apartment. You cook for yourself. You start to adult again, which is a huge part of the recovery process, right? For me, I was enabled my entire time in recovery, so I had to learn to adult again. And then one of the biggest things is we're in network with all major insurances. If you've seen some type of private insurance, we can help. We do offer private pay as well at an affordable rate, which not everybody is fortunate enough to have that situation. Medicaid, we can talk about that. We are in process with the state of Vermont to actually being approved to accept Medicaid clients. I have to say that with a grain of salt because it's a very difficult situation to navigate. Mainly because, one, reimbursement rates. In order to provide help, we need to keep the lights on. We can't do it at a losing money situation, right? Like that just doesn't make business sense. But secondly, and more importantly on our team is, if we transplant somebody from Vermont and we get them help and then all of a sudden they say 30 days is enough, I've got it all figured out, and they just go AMA from the program in New Hampshire, what does that look like? Where is their safe place to stay? How is their Medicaid going to allow them to get the MAT medications that they need and deserve? What does that look like to the homeless population of New Hampshire? We don't want to just transplant the problem. We want to come up with a solution for housing back in Vermont. What helps is with an outreach coordinator in Vermont now, I've been meeting with First Step and a lot of the sober living situations to open the doors of conversation of, hey, if this happens, how can we work together? V4, I stayed at V4 with Andrew Gagne and Harley and all those guys, so I have a really good relationship with them. So we're working through that. So please be patient. Ideally, if I had it my way, we'd help everybody we could, but it has to make sense, unfortunately, from a business standpoint, and then also for the aftercare plan. It's great when they're in the bubble, but if they leave that bubble, what are we going to do? So that is where we're in talks right now. Then the next one, which is very unique, we decided that we saw a major need in the New England area for primary mental health continuum of care after the hospital setting. So a subacute, standalone facility that maybe drugs weren't their number one problem. It was a mental health situation, and drugs were their answer, right? So we decided in Canterbury, right at the end of '89, that we were going to dedicate the entire program to mental health. We saw it as an opportunity to fill a gap in New England, and really took it seriously. So we opened Canterbury not that long ago. It's just outside of Concord. The campus is, once again, we really pride ourselves on making people feel like they're not in an institution. It's got to feel like home. You've got to be able to walk around, interact with other people in recovery, because it's hard enough to admit you have a problem. So being as comfortable as possible to actually heal. So standalone subacute, voluntary residential mental health program. It's a small, very therapeutic. Resident beds are 20 with another 40 in PHP and IOP where housing is provided. That's another huge step, right? So a lot of times you go through your residential program, it's like, hey, we got your healthy, now what? The entire program, once again, length of stay is huge, and that can be upwards of 90 days as well. So it's not just a couple weeks. And the census, the average census right now is operating between 30 and 35, which is phenomenal.
I don't know what PHP and IOP are.
So partial hospitalization, so PHP is like it's basically the continuum of care is step down, right? So residential is you're on campus 24 hours a day, you're under care that entire time. PHP is partial hospitalization, so you're at the campus for like 2/3 of your day, and then you would retire back to the, and then an IOP is intensive outpatient. So basically that's, you're going to be on campus for like 3 hours a day, and then retire to like work on your resume, start getting your points of contact for your aftercare, set your PCP up, all that type of stuff. So really it's, my case manager said, the way she said it really made me feel good about myself, was I'm going to hold your hand through the entire process, meaning I'm going to hold you accountable for the first 30 days really tight, and then I'm going to let go a little bit, and then by the end you'll walk across the street by yourself, is the idea. So that's the idea. Thank you for asking that. So I keep referencing the full continuum of care. Once again, there's a lot of we copied and pasted because we saw the benefit of the Green Mountain model to the Canterbury model. So comprehensive levels of care include detox, residential, then we got into the PHP, IOP. All these same programs are covered by the insurances. The key here is these disorders are what we really treat there. Mood disorders, anxiety disorders, including PTSD and trauma-related cases, psychotic thought disorders, personality disorders. And the biggest thing is they're really capable of managing these really complex cases. The staff there is very well trained in it. And we just noticed that having the same clients at the mountain, it made more sense to move the mental health into a more acute setting to allow them to get the help they need. So obviously we're in that weird, I'm going to call it the gray area right now, because we want to help with Medicaid in Vermont. We want to do more, but right now this is what we're dealing with. We're in network with every major insurance carrier in New England, including the VA. We've done some really cool things with the VA. The far right emphasizes our Rally Point program. It's really designed for first responders or military. That program is dedicated to 3.5, 4 hours a day where you're sitting with clinicians and other people of service, police officers, Department of Corrections, and really focus on trauma-informed responses to their history and what led them to substance use. That has been huge. That's between 8 and 20 individuals are dedicated at that program that goes to the mountain. One of the coolest programs that I've had the pleasure of not only sitting in, but also witnessing now on the other side and being the outreach coordinator for Vermont. So if anybody in this town or anything that deals with that, I mean, I think it's a huge opportunity. It's a 30-day program, which allows them to obviously still hold their position and then go back. Same thing with nurses. We're seeing a lot of nurses go through that, and it's having amazing results. And then fully trauma-informed and recognized as one of New England's premier programs for this population. I mean, I'm a graduate. There's many other people. One of the things that we pride ourselves on is we have a huge alumni following. So we have 3 alumni coordinators that literally make 30, 60, 90, 6 months, a year follow-up calls to make sure they still have and feel incorporated in the community. A lot of the graduates move to Portland, Manchester. Ideally, we'll have an alumni following in Vermont as well in the future. But that follow-up is the piece that really sets us apart. If they're struggling, they'll come back and do like a restoration program with us as well. And we're super grateful that we have some of the best alumni coordinators. Amadeus, Mac, and Jose run that program. They just did a Halloween event that had over like 200 participants that showed up, because one of their biggest focuses when you're getting, so at least for me, was like, how am I gonna have fun being sober? Like, I don't know how to have fun in sobriety. So they saw the value in that and started to enjoy life again events. And that was to show people that like, you can go to an event and laugh, and the best part is you remember it the next day. So they do like horseshoe tournaments and talent shows and karaoke, and really focus on that, because that was one of my biggest fears getting sober. It's like, people in my life don't know me sober now, so what am I gonna do? Now it's golf and hunting and all those things, but.
Pete, we have a question on Zoom
I
about,
love Zoom questions.
is the Rally Point program a step-down service as well?
It can be, yes. So it's not a 30 and have to go. It can be a full continuum as well. The 30-day shorter program is offered based on whether it's FMLA needs or whatever it may be in their life, but it can be a step down, absolutely. Okay. I've seen a gentleman stay, without giving too many specifics, for about 133 days under that program. And I mean, that length of stay, and then they figured out housing and everything, and he's doing phenomenally well. Yeah, awesome. So no, that can absolutely be a step down. So accessibility, when I was in early recovery, was key, right? I mean, you can only get me to say yes, what, Melinda, you asked, what, 60 times? I think I said yes 3. But the reality is when you have to make that call, there's got to be a bed. And the accessibility in our program is amazing. We have many same-day admissions. In fact, I just got a message, we got 3 same days today. That's huge. What that means is we actually provide door-to-door service from hospital or wherever they are, because we know from experience, lived it, that if you let me go, I will rip and run. It's just fact. It's easier to run, hide from my problems, than to go get help. So they offer same-day transportation. So if I call up right now and say I had XYZ sitting here, they'd either send an Uber and an RSS driver to come pick them up, which is pretty amazing. So safe point to safe point. The intake department works 365, 24 hours a day. There are no days off, because we realize that when people are ready, it's time to go. So we did an intake call this past Saturday at 3 a.m. The client was picked up at 5 a.m. and was ready to start their journey to recovery by the next morning. That's pretty amazing. And we have, Teams chats going on. We've got a lot of people that care, which is pretty cool. We do the insurance verification, everything. The initial call and phone screening is done, and then the bed scheduling coordination, and like I said, 365. So there's no days off in recovery. We all know this.
We have another question, Pete.
I only allow one question.
It's a different person. I'm just the mouthpiece. Is there telehealth virtual opportunities or telehealth services provided within the program?
Depending on level of care. So we have done some unique telehealth for an IOP situation, but reality is we like the person to go through at least the residential setting to decide what avenue is best to then approach. Speaking personally, I needed skin in the game for it to work. I tried IOP, I said all the right things. I made my parents and my family think I was doing the right thing, but until you have skin in the game, it's tough to walk the walk, right? So yes, we do get creative. I would say that it's not as easy as some other telehealth situations, because we want them to at least go through the foundation of the program to get the steps under them, and then for 30 days they'd meet with the case manager, and then we could set up IOP. Or the other thing that I've recently been working with, we've got like Tracy at Savita and her great staff, that if IOP is better at home, I've been referring people to IOP depending on what they need, based on community partners that I've met in these meetings. So the reality is we just want to connect those dots, expand the level of care, and just go from there. Great question, though. So the communication. One of the hardest things that I found was when I was at the mountain is I couldn't fool my family, because my case management team kept them in the loop with my healing process. So I would get on the phone, hey, everything's going great. Well, that's not what your case manager said. Your case manager said you're being kind of a jerk and you're not really doing the work. And I'm like, whoa! So one of the biggest things is if you're a referral source, so say Melinda, I'm going to pick on her because we work together a lot, refer somebody. Upon admission, you receive a landing call. Know the person's safe. I think that's huge, because sometimes they get lost in this gray area of like, did they make it? Did they not make it? Where are they at? And then from there, obviously with the ROI, release of information, you can get weekly updates. Family referral is included in the discharge planning, because I think that's huge. Your case managing team, your clinician, hey, are you ready to have him home yet? And a lot of times, at least in my life, my family's like, hell no, keep him. And it's important to have those honest and tough conversations, because it's only going to lead to everybody's success. I stayed away for 1.5 years. Well, no, 2.5 years, jeez. And now I'm back in the community and back home with mom and dad because of these processes. And then discharge call, hey, listen, Johnny is discharging today. Just so you know, his aftercare plan is XYZ, Portland, sober living, this. And they arrange all the PCP, the aftercare clinician, everything before, because it's one thing to be in the safety bubble, it's another thing to release back to life, and we need to make sure all those things are checked off. So that's something we take a lot of time in. So in closing, here we go again. Yeah.
This girl.
That's my daughter, Remy. Yeah. We do recover. And if I can help, just let me know. All right?
I know you can't see it up there, Pete, but there's like a huge amount of hearts blasting off in the Zoom world right now.
Yeah, right?
That was awesome.
Questions, concerns? You can ask me anything. I'm an open book.
I have a question.
I may not have an answer, but I'll try.
Assume the person doesn't have insurance or money. Do you do scholarships?
So that is an interesting case-by-case basis. So one thing that I am dabbling in, and I don't offer this to everybody, but if we say we run into a situation where we know individual you've been working with a lot, has a great support system, really wants to get sober, right? And we know that feeling. When you sit with somebody, you can tell, right? I mean, their family's involved, they've tried sober living, they had a stumbling block. One thing we are willing to approach the state with is a one patient agreement, payment agreement, to prove out this system, right? To show them that it does work. Scholarships are a little bit trickier, but I would say this, I would rather you reach out and we work to a solution than just wonder, right? I would rather not take no for an answer and just push it and see what we can do. I think that's the right way to go about it. We can get creative. There were some creative solutions that were shut down in the past, but I'm open to see what we can do. So I would rather you call me and say, hey, listen, it's not gonna happen, but I know XYZ, Divided Sky, you know, these other places that I work hand in hand with that I can get you in touch with. I am not going to not respond to you if it doesn't fit, granted. I don't think that works. We're dealing with a human, right? So I would rather you call and I say, no, not at Granite, but I can send you XYZ, if that makes sense.
Yes, it
You know
does.
what I mean?
Thank you.
Yanni?
What's the percentage of people who reach out and aren't able to do it because of insurance reasons?
So we're seeing a shift. With me being in Vermont, just strictly Vermont, a lot of the outreach coordinators had New Hampshire, Massachusetts, completely different clientele, right? I would say recently going to the hospitals that I'm seeing, about 50% have private insurance now, which I think that number's a little high, if you want me to be honest. You go to the ED, we're dealing with like a 70-30 split, but it depends. Like the people that I'm talking to in Burlington versus the people that I'm talking to in Newport, way different clientele. The private pay situation at Granite is surprisingly what I consider affordable for the level of care you receive. A detox situation is $4,000 for a 5 to 7 day stay. A 30-day stay with us in residential, full residential setting is $16,500. Where if you do that comparatively, obviously you may not be comparing apples to apples, but residential care is expensive. And I consider that affordable. I did that model my first, Melinda, was it my first time through? You did private pay? You can share,
It was
I don't care.
yeah.
My parents stepped up and said, hey, we want you healthy. And it was, I think, 21 all said and done with detox and 34 days of residential. So, yeah. I would love to give you more numbers, Danny, but I haven't been in the role long enough to see a true breakdown. But if I'm going off of what people are telling me, 70-30.
Yeah. I just think of like insurance costs, affordability in Vermont.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I mean,
people want to get help, but like.
So I'll use another example. That, you know, it sometimes pays to take out a plan, a private plan. If, you know, there's situations you can do that. But like I said, get creative, give me a call. The fun thing is to be part of the solution on the right side versus the, you know, the chaos of the wrong side now. Yeah.
Do you guys do any private like funding where someone could get a loan through you guys?
So that I don't know. I know that I've seen promissory notes and stuff like that. depending on the situation, but I would have to research. And like I said, I think it's more of a case-by-case basis, right? So met with a family in Newport the other day, you know, has an amazing support structure, really wants to get sober, tried other things that, you know, maybe the shorter continuum of care didn't work for them. They tried that like 4 or 5 times. Some people 2 weeks isn't long enough. It wasn't for me. I mean, 30 days wasn't long enough for me. I didn't screw my life up in 30 days. How am I gonna fix it in 30? So the longer we can get people to stay with us, the better off, you know, the outcome can be. So.
The one thing that sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The one thing that I really appreciate about Granite from your presentation is that it seems like you guys are actively, consistently trying to remove barriers. And a lot of people don't know this about me, but before coming to NCSS, I was 2 years at the Chittenden Clinic at the Howard Center trying to assist people in recovery. And barriers constantly, whether it be transportation, how we're going to do this, insurance, all of those things that you touched upon, you know, are active ingredients on why individuals struggle to, you know, to get to a place of being able to kick the habit, move on, and have a better outcome. The one thing that I recognize is that you mentioned you had 6 centers located in New Hampshire and Maine, right? Yep. You know, one of those barriers being transportation. Is there any active communication between leadership, your team in general, where they're trying to get a facility here in Vermont? Has that ever been talked about?
I'm such the new kid on the block that I haven't been a part of any of those talks, just to be transparent with you. I haven't even heard that. We've got a lot on our plate with everything we're doing in New Hampshire and Maine. I will say that they are a very forward-thinking company, and I wouldn't say it's off the books from the conversation, but I would hate to over-commit and under-deliver to you. So reality is I think the first step would be proving the model with Medicaid approval to show that we're doing the right thing and gain some trust and all that stuff. And then I think, because Granite is owned by Baymark, a larger private entity, and they would absolutely entertain those conversations if we can break down some of the barriers, right? I mean, it's going to take that first, is I think the first step.
Yeah.
Brad and then Brittany.
First of all, congratulations on your recovery. Second, great presentation.
Thank you. First one. Made the slides last night at like 10.
Truly in recovery. So you said something about if somebody goes to Granite and then in 30 days they go, you know, I'm cured, I want to hit the road. How does that differentiate from a New Hampshire resident? Why is a Vermonter different from that resident?
So I'm saying say we get Medicaid over there, and all of a sudden they decide to go AMA, their Medicaid wouldn't allow them to get their potential MAT prescriptions in New Hampshire. So then they have a bigger barrier, right? They're in a foreign place, they don't have the resources that they're used to. So that's what I was talking about when I say we've got to iron out those details. So if I'm in a foreign, I mean, you're literally at the top of the mountain. One of the things that's unique about that is they let you walk down the mountain and think about your decision before they give you the easy way out. Trust me, I walked it a couple times. And you know, you get your backpack on and you're like that stubborn 6-year-old that is mad at mom and dad. But they don't want you in a foreign place with Vermont Medicaid, 0 resources under your belt, and then you're standing at the side of the highway going, what now?
So you're taking the Medicaid, but New Hampshire is not.
So right now we service New Hampshire and Maine Medicaid.
Yeah.
And because we can align with PCPs and everything, the aftercare program is just easier. Okay. So that's just a hurdle that when we put the client and patient first, we think about those things. You know, to your point, we're removing all barriers and excuses not to get healthy. And that's one of our concerns is transplant Pete from Vermont with literally no one, with Vermont Medicaid, still needs, if I was still on Suboxone, how am I going to get my Suboxone? How am I going to have any follow-up if I just walk off the hill, right? So we're really putting the thought behind it because we don't want to just move a situation, right? It wouldn't do us any good, it wouldn't do the client any good. and that's really the goal, so. Brittany?
I've done a ton of research on different recovery centers throughout the country, and there are quite a few that if you're on Vermont Medicaid, they actually have you unenroll in Vermont Medicaid as soon as you get into that state, and then they enroll you in their state's program, and that way you're covered.
I will smile at that.
So just throwing that out there.
I don't know what you're talking about. There was a very unique situation. I'll say it. I've heard of it. It happens. I can't sit here and sign off on that. That's not. But yeah, great research.
we have a question on Zoom, and it's actually kind of similar to that topic. And I guess one thing I'd throw out there is that the doorway, right? That's what they call it in New Hampshire. The doorway for New Hampshire services is the way to connect. The question on the Zoom is, does Granite Recovery accept New Hampshire Medicaid, which we know they do, and is there a workaround if someone is homeless, which is similar? So the door.
Who asked the question?
Heather Newcomb with Vermont Works for Women.
So I will say this. Recently I was in Newport, and there's been this, it's not even a story anymore, fable we'll go with, of the situation where they use the doorway in New Hampshire to get clients from Vermont that need the help and everything they deserve. I can't sit here and co-sign that because it turned into a very bad situation where somebody was making profit off of that situation. Two individuals, someone that was in recovery, I'm using air quotes because the person was not, was almost like a broker of people. I will never sign off on that. Is there workarounds? Yes. I would feel much more comfortable if you reach out to me first and see what I can do for the said individual. If I'm a dead end, then it's up to the person to find a workaround, I guess is the way to put it. Where I don't want to see happen is a relationship with Vermont and Granite be cut off because of workarounds, right? I would rather take the long, hard road and get it the right way than do a workaround and have a short-term answer. Because what basically happened was there's two individuals that were going to people that needed help. Those people that needed help were paying them substantial money to do the workaround. So they were profiting off of what I consider a bad situation. But give me the shot and we'll go from there. But great research.
You did a good job answering that too. And I
mean,
think
that's the best
the
way.
doorway is a good place for people to contact too, because that's kind of like the doorway to any and all services. If a person is homeless in New Hampshire and homeless, they would be eligible for New Hampshire Medicaid. But if they're in Vermont and homeless, that brings in a whole case-by-case scenario to make sure that
and the last thing we want to do
best
is
practice is being used.
Right, and the last thing you want to do is I don't want to condone someone making profit off of others trying to get their life together. Like that makes no sense from a we're not like making money off trying to do it the wrong way. You know what I mean?
I don't really necessarily think that would be considered a wrong way because they become a resident of that state.
You're right in handling it in that certain manner. This person was doing it through like Craigslist post, making cash to be a driver, like basically trafficking.
Yeah, there's no professionalism.
Not at all what I was talking about.
And you have another one on Zoom asking about, does the program take both medical insurance of Medicare and Medicaid? And again, we're talking New Hampshire, right, or Maine Medicaid, but also Medicare. Do they accept primary Medicare?
So we'll do a verification of benefits on those situations on a case by case. Also depending on where they would fall if we're talking mental. There's different avenues because we've got the Granite House, which is slightly different. So case by case, send it over. We'll do a VOB and then figure out what best case.
And VOB is verification of benefits.
Yep. Sorry.
That's okay.
We just start texting.
I can hear Kristen Pryor in my ears. What is VOB? What is PCP? What is it?
You're texting on Teams. It's like, I need a VOB like now. And
Okay, and I think I saw a hand over here. Did I? No, maybe not.
Pete, genuinely, just to echo what he said, I thought like you brought a lot of humanity to that presentation. I really appreciate you standing up and being vulnerable with us and showing all that, because you have no idea how much more impactful it is. Granite's lucky to have you.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think that's the goal, right? Is like Melinda and I struggled. We were in the Department of Health meeting like 3 weeks ago, and we talk about return on investments and all this stuff, and we take the humanity out of it. When in reality, that's someone's kid, someone's daughter.
What's up?
Yeah. Thanks.
You got it.
Now, I just want to say thank you to Pete, and just to highlight again, I know for me as a referral partner, I have cases where I showed up to somebody's house at 7 p.m. on a Sunday night and was able to do that screening, and that's where, when we do our summit, and we've had Granite at the podium a number of times, it's most definitely not to, the goal isn't to get Vermonters out of state by any stretch, but it's also to make sure that there's access to those programs for those Vermonters that need immediate intake, not appointment for intake, that have the transportation option, that need to leave the area because they have too many connections here. So it's just another tool, right? Another resource. And I think that, the example you mentioned too, by somebody getting picked up in the middle of the night. And I know I had one person that, we called, and within 2.5 hours they were picked up from the UVM ED. So there's just been some great cases where it's barrier busting, right? Like, that's my favorite passion in doing this work, is if somebody says no, it's like, okay, we don't take no. We also stay ethical and do it the right way, but we find a way. We don't just say no because it is somebody's family member, and it's critical that when that window is open, we take advantage of that because it shuts fast, as we both know. So I really appreciate you did a phenomenal job. Thank you for sharing with us. Are there any other questions for Pete?
Just one comment. There just shouldn't be a geographic barrier.
And just to be clear, everybody on the Granite staff is on that same page. The key is just we have to keep the lights on to offer that help. Totally. So when it comes to a reimbursement rate, we can't lose money, right? It just doesn't make financial sense. We have some of the most dedicated board members. I mean, Eric Eckberg is so dedicated to the company that he literally met with me 4 or 5 times before deciding, hey, we want you to represent us in Vermont. He's really looking to break those barriers of like, what can we do for these folks? So we've got a dedicated team that feels the same thing, the same squeeze as you guys do, and really looking to change things moving forward. Yes?
I would say too, like, for employers, it's important to also understand that stay lengths can be tricky. I could see someone potentially not wanting to go and do it because they can't take the time off of work. Maybe they're a high functioning substance use person. So,
and if that is the case, upon admissions, what we do is we acknowledge that right off the rip and say, hey, this is an FMLA situation where we want to do residential, get you the foundation, and then link up with an IOP back home. And we'll make that very clear during their incoming situation so that we can start working with a Savita, start working with Jay Bowen down in Burlington, River Rock Treatment Center, so where they have great IOPs. We're not going to go cookie jar syndrome, meaning once they're ours, they're ours. That's not what we want. What we want is we give them the foundation, reach out to a community partner in their home setting if that's where they want to be, and get them back there healthy. So that's a great point, Danny, that they don't have to stay for the 120 or 90, whatever. Ideally, we'd like that. But if it means that they do 30 with us, and then at least we know we have an aftercare plan with other community partners to set them up for success. Because when I left my first time, I played the fiddle. Like, I was like, oh, I got great support back home, and sure, I'll do 90 and 90, and yeah. But that was that.
I think you mentioned in the beginning of your presentation that you were like from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. 7 days a week, and I appreciate that. I'm not up at that time, unless my daughter needs me to put the blanket on.
Yeah, right.
But can we call you? What times are you?
Literally, Melinda will attest to this, we want you to call whenever the need is there.
Yes, 24/7. I think you just meant the frequency is higher.
Gotcha. Okay.
You can reach out anytime, and then what I do is I'll do the initial like handshake, introduce to admissions. The admissions team then will take over, do the incoming assessment, decide what avenue the patient is best fit for, and then go from there. But I'm like that intermittent, like, if you're like, hey, I got a guy here, I want you to meet with him, I will come right then and there. I do travel, obviously, a lot in the state of Vermont, but it's nice, it's my home. You know, that's why I took the job with Granite, is I could have left and gone back into, you know, other careers, but there's so much need in our community that I was like, why not affect my backyard? And that's why when Granite said, hey, do you want to do, and I'll be going over the lake to Plattsburgh as well here shortly, because Plattsburgh has a huge need for it as well. I would say Plattsburgh is in like the Burlington situation. Right now. So yeah, don't shoot me a text first. Hey, you know, I brought some cards too. Hey, just want to see if we can do a link up for a call, if it's a Zoom, a Teams, or if it's an in-person with somebody. Love that. Okay. You know.
And my last question, you know, you mentioned, I know that substance use as primary. Like, do you accept individuals with a mental health component as well? Like,
dual diagnosis?
Yeah, dual
Absolutely.
diagnosis.
Absolutely.
Okay. Are there any like absolutely not? Like, what
I
are
would
those?
say that's a case by case done by the assessment, and once we have medical records faxed over and everything, we'll do that assessment. Very rarely do we not find an answer. I'll say it that way. Whether it's we go through the behavioral health, primary health situation in Canterbury, or more the SUD route. But that would be done through the assessment and medical records. Kind of out of my hands with that one, but there's very few times I've seen a no. Very few. Because we do MAT, you know, some of the other places don't do MAT. We accept you if you're still under the influence because we have a detox situation, so you don't have to be signed off by an ED saying you're healthy to come in, because some places you have to be signed off that you're healthy. I was like, I would have never made it to treatment. I mean, I was still using on the drive to treatment.
I assume having a MAP program that you also have an in-house psychiatrist and all of that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And then we offer obviously the different injections as well. We can get people signed up for that. And we also offer counseling to get off of MAT completely. You know, depending on what route makes sense for the patient. You know, for the person. And because some people MAT is a great thing. Why would we want to not offer that, right? For me personally, it wasn't the answer because I'd abuse that too. But that has to be a decision made by the care team and the individual. So.
Does it have to be emergency department referral, or people can just self-referral?
Self-refer, give me a call. I mean, I receive phone calls from friends, loved ones. Even if they don't end up at Granite, they could end up at a Turning Point for meetings. They could end up, you know, Savita. You could, literally, when I say I just like being the middleman, that may be a new addiction. I might have to talk to Melinda about that. But, that and sweets, obviously, because I brought those. But
I can't help you with the sweets.
no, it's more about the connection making, right? Like the opposite of addiction is connection. So how do we form those relationships that, you know, Brendan, I don't know if he's still on, but I'm headed to see him tomorrow. To break down the wall of like B2B, like maybe the person doesn't want to leave Vermont. Hey, I got Brendan at Son Estelle, let me give you his number. Like, that's the goal. It's not like, oh, you have to go to Granite. Granite's the only way. No, like, it's not true. I went to Granite to get the foundation, then I did Adult and Teen Challenge for 1.5 years.
Yeah.
I think also highlighting, so with Canterbury, that's the most recent location that opened, right, for primary mental health. So for people working, especially with crisis, right? So with NCSS and crisis, we share a number of people in the emergency department. And if anybody does have private insurance and is awaiting a bed for mental health primary, Canterbury is a really great option.
Huge option.
Yeah.
I mean, and we're not seeing, well, I'll say this, like, now that I'm dedicated to Vermont and we'll be going to UVM and here, and I go up to Newport to Front Porch and working with Lila from Journey from Recovery, I think we'll see more people from Vermont exercising Canterbury. It's just an unknown gem kind of.
Yeah,
right
it's so
now
new.
still. It's so new that it's not in your Rolodex. Oh, wait, Canterbury, because literally we have open beds I could call right now and we could get somebody in today. Like, which feels kind of cool, honestly, if I'm being selfish.
And I have a question for you. I know the answer to, but I just want to make sure everybody else knows it too. So your role is new, correct, at Granite? And that is to focus strictly on Vermont. So if there's an organization like, I don't know, NCSS that wants to learn more about referral process,
right. So
what would they do?
What my job really is infiltrating areas of opportunity to be a resource for you, because everybody that I've run into thus far is understaffed and overworked in this field, right? Let's be real. So my job is to remove some of that work as the easy answer. So whether it's a private business, I've worked with the HR departments that they hire a lot of people in early recovery, and I go in and give a presentation that adds to their benefit portfolio, right? We can get you into treatment that same day, get you a 30-day, situation. Same thing with other areas, right? Whether you work NCSS, you want your caseworker team or social work team to understand that they have resources. I come in and do a presentation like this, and then all of a sudden, maybe there's a breath of fresh air, like, hey, we have a new, potential answer. So it'd be literally a text or a call, and we could set that up. I mean, I've done a lot of Kevin Franklin remind me, Kevin works for the company that aligns people, hiring people in early recovery.
Oh, Hireability.
Yeah, so working with them and going into, companies and offering resources, because HR, where do I reach out when someone needs help? Yeah. And that could be us too, right? I mean, it's a good question, good answer.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you, Pete. Awesome job. So at this point, we open up the floor for any announcements, any upcoming initiatives, events, anything that you would all like to share, and then just one more friendly reminder about the Ingroth Ostermeyer Award nomination. So if you can get those to me by November 15th, if you have one. Amy.
I brought stuff. November is the Great American Smokeout. It is a time to talk more about quitting. People will be thinking about quitting. And so the coalition, the Franklin Grand Island Tobacco Prevention Coalition, has a variety of items to share, just ways to encourage people. So there's posters, you can encourage people. We have a 30-day quit nicotine calendar, which I didn't create, but it's available, and I have all these as electronic files. Also, there's 3 virtual quit smoking, quit tobacco groups starting. One going on now, November 4th, which was yesterday. You can still join late, and then November 18th. And then through Burlington Partnership for a Healthy Community partnered in our region to kind of help support us, and so we have all kinds of new posters on vapes for young people in particular, and then stress just in general. And then lastly, unrelated to tobacco. So anyway, all of this, if you want to promote with your people that you serve, including employees, that's great. And then on a transportation note, starting January-ish, RCT is going to take over for GMT. Should be pretty seamless. I don't know all the details. I should, but I don't. But they did give some RCT cards, so there's some information about that as well. So I'll put these here. Take what you want. If you're online and you want materials, please just put something in the chat, and Melinda or Jess will help me get you what you need.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you. Brittany.
RCT.
Is that done?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's the only thing I don't have. Oh, RCT is rural community transit, and that's the only thing I don't have electronic.
Okay.
And when are they taking over?
January-ish.
Okay. Brittany.
So as I mentioned in my introduction, I'm in the early process of starting Vermont's first dual diagnosis recovery residence for youth. And right now I am gathering letters of support from the community just to say, that there is a need for this and that Vermont is greatly lacking youth services. So if anybody is interested in writing a letter, I can leave like my business cards and you guys can just take a picture of my info or take a card. And if you want more information about what I'm doing, I'd be happy to provide that. And then as many of you that can write a letter saying that this would be helpful to the community, that would be great.
Thanks, Brittany. And do you want me to put your Intuitive Wolf email in the chat?
Let's do my personal. Do you have it?
I do.
Okay, perfect. And actually, yeah, so that would be great. You guys can just get my info. You can put my phone number in there too.
Okay, perfect. We'll do that. Yeah, and I think one thing that I'll highlight as a person who focuses on addiction in the state of Vermont. So there are right now 0 residential treatment programs for youth in the state of Vermont. So when we do, I'll put my VTAR hat on, even though last month was the last meeting for that. We have done a number of various like gaps analysis, needs assessment, that type of thing, right? Because that's the most important thing to even get support, funding, anything. When it comes to saying, hey, we need this service, there needs to be kind of, well, or how do you know this, right? So with the recovery residences, that's what was used for, like I'll mention Kate Bluin's, the house that she's looking to open, which is Hope Grove. It was just identified years ago that there was a need for a women's house because we have the men's home, not the women's in this area. So similarly, when we're looking at, an organization who, in Brittany's case, like we're trying to see is this really a need in the state of Vermont, I just wanted to put in that not so fun fact that right now we actually have 0.
And the only mental health option residential for youth is Brattleboro Retreat. And that's a very short-term program.
I think it's important too. I was at a nonprofit summit yesterday, convention, and like recognizing who your audience is when you're trying to like say something that you need. Data is a great piece. You have to think about our legislators. A lot of them are business people. They're going to understand numbers. So not being afraid to make it human, to be vulnerable, and then also just like to continuously ask for it, right? And finding those opportunities. So we have a legislative cookie swap that's going to be coming up in this group. That's a good opportunity to maybe come here for it. Making sure that information's shared with our partnership. But again, like you don't know what you don't know, and there's it's information overload, right? So it's I had no idea either that there was no programs, and so there's just a lot of information. But if there's anything that we can do, whether it's NCSS or other groups here, like sharing each other's social media posts, maybe going on Brad's radio show. Northwest Access TV coming here and recording it. Maybe we can, boost this part of the conversation. Like all of that stuff is really important to get in front of people and make that information known.
Agreed.
Can you text me your, I thought I had it.
Yes, I'll text it to you right now.
Okay. Other announcements, I think I got a flyer from Michelle. Did you want to say something about this?
Well, I just kind of found out about it too. He's a Native American dancer and hip hop artist, so he's coming to Missisquoi Valley Union High School. It's at 6:30 p.m. That's kind of all what I know about it right now.
And it's this Friday, I think, isn't
Yes.
it?
Yeah, that's this
Yes.
Friday.
And it's free.
Yes, it's free.
Okay, yeah, November 7th, 175 Thunderbird Drive, Swanton.
All right.
Awesome. John, did you have one?
Yes. For those of you that use childcare or have neighbors or friends that use childcare, the Vermont Food, Agriculture, and Agricultural Marketing people have a grant opportunity out for all childcare centers to receive money to buy local produce, anything from dairy to CSA shares to meat. I am putting in an application as the lead. I currently have, I think, about maybe 8 or 9 daycare centers, childcare providers, who will be part of my group making this single application. So if you know a childcare center or use a childcare center, ask them about it. It's the opportunity to get anywhere from $500 to $1,500 of money from the state to buy food for your childcare center. So they can get hold of me. My contact information is on this listserv, so they can get hold of me. Just send me email, call me, telegraph, smoke signal. But anyway, the proposal is due the 25th of November, so it's fairly short fused. But the child care provider part of the proposal, what they need to give me is pretty simple. It's a short letter that just says, what are you going to buy, who are you going to buy it from, how much it's going to cost, and how you're going to use it. And that's all you have to do. And then I aggregate all the child care centers that are in my group and submit that as a proposal to the Vermont Department of Ag. So.
Awesome. I guess going off of childcare, the Albert Family Clubhouse is actively looking for children to go into its new facility. So it's a 50, you can have up to 50 kids there, and it's all staffed. NCSS is there to provide people with assistance on navigating how to get childcare assistance through the state as well. So John, I don't know if you can connect with Lindsay Hun and Michelle Treya or send me the info so I can get it over to them.
Okay. Yeah.
But again, it's a new resource that came up for a need. Rural families maybe having to travel far for work or vice versa, but obviously childcare is a big problem in the state of Vermont. So the Albert Family Clubhouse, it's a beautiful facility. They're on Facebook. So that's going on. And then also it's the Rotary Club of St. Albans is doing a coat drive right now. So a winter coat drive, and then also like other, hats and mittens. NCSS is being one of the drop-off locations. So our 130 Fisher Pond Road, just right across the street. If anyone has any gently used or new coats that they want to drop off, you can go over there and do it. And there's a lot of other places to drop it off to, but that's one of them.
There was also mentioned again in the chat about the open house for Savita. So that's on 17 Catherine Street in St. Albans. The St. Albans location from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. is their open house next Wednesday. And Aaron, I see your question in the chat. Did you want to invite folks from the family room to speak at the? Do you want to chime in on what the chat comment is or means? I think I'm lost.
Sorry, if there's someone from the family room, the clubhouse already in the room, and I heard it mentioned.
Oh, cool.
I didn't know, I couldn't tell who was the speaker, but I didn't know if that would be worth like a presentation, just like thinking of all the work that went into it, and thinking about how, our partnerships are already there and what more support they might need to kind of get the word out. I don't know if, like Amanda from the clubhouse has been invited or not to, speak at all, but I was just making a suggestion, but.
Got it. Okay, now I get what you're saying. Absolutely. And we have this, I guess this is a good segue to something that our executive lead team have been talking about. So for the community partnership, if organizations want to speak and present like Pete did today, then they let us know. We put them on the schedule. We're booking out into 2027 right now. Wow. We're booked out well over a year. So one of the things that we talked about, and it would be good to throw out there for everybody to think about, because we don't want to make any decisions like on our own without feedback from the partners, was to potentially combine two presentations. And we've done that historically anyhow in some cases. So we were talking about what would it look like to maybe just have shorter presentations and two presenters per month, so we can have more organizations, because some of the ones that reach out, when I tell them, yeah, I can put you on the schedule for February 2027, their initiative is over by then, right? Yeah. So that's something just to throw out, and I don't know if any of the other members want to mention some of the stuff we've talked about with potential changes in the new year, but that was one that I think would be a good thing for us to ponder on. And maybe it would be a case by case, where if it's one organization that does have a lot to share and they really want that full slot, no problem, we would put them on the next one. But you will, more than likely, anybody who's on the calendar right now may hear from me in the near future saying, hey, do you have a shorter presentation that you'd like to double up with another presenter so we can get more partners in? So I don't know if I said that well.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you sit around and eat French fries and Mimos. You come up with stuff you come up with ideas like that.
And I will add, for any of the announcements people are sharing, I'm jotting them down, and so is Danielle. But if you are able to email that FGI partnership @gmail.com, then I can just take your documents and drop it in the newsletter. And hopefully you're all getting the newsletter. We'll probably have to get a few new email addresses on there.
Yeah, if you're on the Zoom, of course, I should have said this before most people logged off, but if you are new, make sure to put your email in the chat, and then also anybody in the room, we passed around the sign-in sheet, so that way we can make sure that you are added to the listserv. And I also want to give a huge thank you to Jess for improving the way that we do the weekly updates, because it was pretty in the past, but it was also a lot, and the way that she's kind of condensed it and made it more comprehensive. And I just want to say thank you to Jess for that. So she has taken over those outreaches with the updates, and I think it's been beneficial to go from bi-weekly or twice a month instead of every week, and then also to just have them a little bit more confined. So if you do have any initiatives, flyers, updates that you want, just continue to send that to the FGIC partnership at Gmail email. If you have any questions about it, of course, you can reach out to us too.
Yeah, I actually was wondering if people prefer the weekly emails versus twice a month, because we've always done weekly and it seemed like a lot to me, but now I'm realizing how many updates we have every week, so maybe, I don't know if people read it every week. To me, it felt like information overload, but, so I thought twice a month might be better. I don't know if anybody has an opinion.
So we'll put that to a vote in another month, maybe next month's meeting. So think about it, weekly or bi-weekly.
I do have a question when I report back to my own team. Is your presentation going to be available for all of us to look back on?
I can gladly send that to whoever would like it.
I would love that personally.
Yeah, and that's one thing too, when we send out these emails from the partnership, it's talking about the announcements, so you're seeing the attachments, the PDFs or whatever. We have the meeting notes, so if you weren't here, not only do you have the recording and the link to go and watch the presentation, this whole meeting, but you're also going to have the PowerPoint for it. So all of this stuff in these meetings are shared, and on YouTube, if you go to the Northwest Access TV, you can search this partnership group, and that's going to be there to share. So I would recommend that they probably watch that over the presentation, because you can hear Pete, but also hear the conversations and questions that came from it too.
Very good.
Any other announcements, updates in our last 3 minutes?
Thank you, everyone. It's been great to see everyone's faces.
It's good to see you again, Matt.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, well, and that juncture will close at 10:27, officially call the meeting.
Thank you, Danny.